Welcome to Little Red Whooper's channel today, guys, and we're back with some more news on the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Teal Mask DLC. I hope you guys are enjoying as much as I am. This is going to be just a brief summarize of what my personal opinions on the new take and the latest news that's coming around, and talking about the new Teal Mask DLC that's just coming right around the corner. If you're enjoying this video, please give that like down below, and if you want to see more of this lovely shenanigans, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate everyone that's been super supportive in all of this. It means a lot to me, so shout out to all of you guys. Anyways, I've been keeping pretty hush-hush about this whole thing. I think for the most part of it, I've heard and watched other YouTubers and looked at the other news and kind of trying to decipher from some spoilers as to fakes and so forth. And I decided to also kind of put this on hold because Pokemon Center has this way of just kind of throwing a little bit of dopamine, little bits of revealing, little bits, just little snippets. And I kind of figured I would just make an overall video of it all just to make it a little bit easier. So I won't go into all the nitty-gritty too much. I'll kind of like do an overall summarization of this, but let's get to it. Are we excited about this? Please let me know in the comments. What are you excited about to see in the new Teal Mask DLC? Yeah, I'm excited. So, basically, what is the Teal Mask DLC? Well, it's basically a little school mini field trip. I guess they're trying to make it look like in this whole keeping to the school academy kind of thing. So this takes place at the Kitakami Island. It's our little field trip, so to speak. And you do meet some very vital, important DLC characters, such as the two siblings here you can see on the top left there of the screen. We've got Carmine as the sister and Kieran as the brother, the little brother. And that, I'm not going to go too much into it, but that photo in itself I think is very vital, and I think it is very foreshadowing as what's to come with the Pokemon that you see here on the corner as Ogerpon. Basically, this island tells of a storyline in Japan based off of the loyal 3 Pokemon, and then Ogerpon as this legendary, mysterious kind of Pokemon that you don't come across so much. Yeah, so super exciting about that. With that in mind, here are the loyal 3. So we've got Okidogi, Munkidori, and Fezandipiti. Sorry, I may say these Pokemon wrong. Forgive me, but I will try my best. I mean well. But anyways, yes. So the loyal 3 come with this Ogerpon legendaries. These will be, I believe, part of the regional VGC to come. Probably, maybe later in October. Who knows? But yes, they all do share one very unique ability called Poison Chain ability. And essentially all of them, Poison Chain ability is just like Poison Point. So when a Pokemon comes into contact with a Pokemon with Poison Point ability, essentially poisons them. So instead, what's really unique about this one is it's reversed. So, it's like a poison jab, but apparently it does point out online here that it says badly poisoned. So, I'm not sure, they haven't revealed what the percentage is, but it does seem like it's going to be very valuable, and very powerful in a sense. So, with this Poison Chain, instead, the Pokemon with this ability, if it comes into contact with an opposing Pokemon, it will more or less likely poison that Pokemon. So, again, we don't know what the percentage of that, if it's like 30%, anything higher. Does it go through steel types? Does it go through things that would normally resist? We don't know. But that is what they have left us, and this is what I mean about Pokemon Center, or Pokemon, the company, how they like to like kind of give us little bits of reveal, a little bit of leakage of the exciting stuff to come. So, with that being said, here are some of the cool things I would like to point out that I think will be very cool. Like the new Pokemon Discovery. So, with this in mind, this is just kind of, I'm trying to keep to the Teal Mask DLC. I realize there is already information out there, and we'll talk about that a little bit after, about the Indigo disc, and I know that there's other reveals of different Pokemon. And I noticed I even put one in here, so we'll briefly touch on that, but let's focus mainly on what the Teal Mask will be able to provide. So, new Pokemon. We have got a new evolution, Diplin. So, off of the Applin, is going to have a new form, which is super exciting to see and what might happen from there. It does have some new abilities and moves that I will go on into the next slide here for you. We've also, the recent spillage and the leakage, I'm not sure if this was supposed to be revealed yet, but it's out there. We have the Ursaluna with a blood moon sort of form that it takes. And there's rumors that it's going to be more or less a steel normal typing. And it just has a few little, like, apparently it's got some really cool abilities that it's going to have. With that in mind, it may no longer actually have the ability Guts like the other Ursaluna does, but it has things that it might have, such as, I think, Mind's Eye, what's the other one? Bulletproof, and it has, rumors have said that it has Intimidate as well, which honestly, I think that's perfect. Intimidate will be, like, this will be very scary. I'm sure you can still use the same methods that you will have, but essentially it's a super bulky Pokemon, and the typing, I think, will be very interesting to see. With that, we have Poltergeist. So that was another one that was revealed to us a little bit earlier here. It is the new form of the Poltergeist. So this one seems really interesting. And again, we'll go into that in just a second here. I think it'll be really cool. I'm kind of seeing a lot of, like, grass upgrade synergy. We've got some, like, ghost typing. We've got some grasses. Like, it's going to be interesting. And to see that the Loyal 3 have some sort of, like, poison ability leads me to think there's some sort of dual type with poison. But I don't know. Some, like, poison fighting? Some poison flying, maybe? I don't know. I'm excited. And then that, we've got, like I mentioned there, Okidoki, Munkidori, and Fenzendipity. So yeah, they will be all part of this lovely package that is going to be happening, as well as Ogrepon. Or Ogrepon? Yeah, Ogrepon. Sorry, I'm, like, messing up all these names. And then I know that I just put in Archaludon? Archaludon? I can't say that, apparently. But Archaludon, I know, and I realize, is an Indigo disc, and I won't touch too much on that, but he looks really exciting, and I'm personally really stoked for that. But again, I will talk about that a little bit later here. So let's get into the new moves, shall we? So this is kind of what I want to touch base with is Diplin and the Poltergeist have a lot of unique abilities that I think will really have an impact on the current meta format on VGC and double ranking. So with that, why do I think that? Well, first off, let's take an example of the Diplin. So Dipplin will have a new ability called Super Sweet ability. So when it enters the field, it actually lowers the evasiveness of the opposing Pokemon. So I read that at first as like a little bit like it boosts it. It actually lowers the evasiveness of the opposing Pokemon. That will be huge. If you're trying to miss a Pokemon, or if you're trying to like a certain typing or a move, this could be huge. How many are, we are already on VGC ladders. I know myself, I have complained about it countless times with the overabundance of missing moves like Heat Waves, all the new Genie specialty moves. We got Wild Bolt Storms, Bleak Wind Storms, and Springtide Storms, and so forth. So this is huge for impacting on our opposing Pokemon, and I actually can't wait to see how and will people be using this as a new technique. Followed up with that, Dipplin also has access to a new specialty move called Syrup Bomb. It will be a grass typing move, and it's a special attacker. So it will lower the speed stats of the opposing Pokemon it has contact with. And it looks like it is guaranteed, like it's 100%. I'm not sure, I have to confirm on that, but that's what it looks like. And that, again, speed is such an important factor when it comes to meta. Being able to outspeed your opponent and having the first hits make all like such an impact and make all the difference in how the game runs. So this will be very interesting, as well as the fact, currently with Regional D, we have so many Urshifus and other sorts of water terras that are happening. It's incredible that this might have such an impact, as well as just being able to swap in and out. And I should mention also, Dipplin will be a grass dragon? Yeah. So it will be a grass dragon type, as well as its other counters. So again, pretty cool. Again, with the next Pokemon we're moving on to is the Poltergeist. So Poltergeist is going to have a new ability called Hospitality ability. And essentially, when it swaps in, it restores your ally's HP when it enters the field. I think this is gonna get so crazy and out of control because of the fact that it's typing. It looks like it's going to be a grass ghost type, so you could swap in and possibly get it in with no damage whatsoever taken on itself. If you're anticipating any E-speeds or any sort of drain punches, don't worry, swap her in. And if your Pokemon is struggling, this is going to be incredible. I can see this being part of a new, essentially, balance duo on the double matches. So, yeah, super, super cool. We assume it's going to have a unique ability because it has explained in the video. You can check it up on the Pokemon site itself. They have videos revealing of what this Pokemon does. Essentially, it's goes back into an old folks ghost story of this owner with a T and matcha, and basically it's like taking revenge, I guess, because it's got it's been broken. And you can see that on the design. I think it's very interesting and kind of cool looking. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to have like what the evolution stage looks like, whether it's going to be this is the first one or the last evolution. We don't know. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's guaranteed that it's going to have a signature move of its own. It just hasn't explained that. but based off of the story of what it explains, it seems like it's going to be some sort of unique grass sapping move, which will be super cool. But yeah, I could go into like forever on that. What are some other things that I am totally looking forward to this? Basically, the new return of some older Pokemon. So, let's see where that is. There we go. Pokemon, I am excited to have back for regionals. They will be allowed in for Regional E, and I'm super stoked. In my opinion, I don't know if these will be all exactly competitive, but I can see some of them having very valuable usage and possibly changing the meta game itself as well. So, for example, some of the ones that are coming back is our lovely Snorlax. We actually have a comeback for Mightyena, and I have not seen that Pokemon in ages. So I am super stoked for that. We also have Melodic, Ninetales, the Gliscor, Vikavolt, and Trevenant. So yes, these are just a few. I know there's a couple more. We've got a couple dragons and bug types and so forth. I know I haven't listed them all, but check it out online. Again, it will reveal all the extensive list. And I could probably even put in the comments here what those links are. If you want, feel free to click on those. But these are some of the Pokemon I'm really excited to see. For example, Ninetales is a Kanto first gen all time solid fire type Pokemon. It's very fast, and it was always my go-to over Arcanine. Despite, yes, Arcanine has been very reliable and has in fact made itself in the Palafin balance kind of combo when we first looked at that in the first couple series here for BGC. But Ninetales, I don't know. They haven't really specified what moves it will have, what I presume some of the abilities. Ninetales has Flash Fire, but it also might possibly be a new Drought setup ability. So we might see a new option as opposed to doing Torkoals. Now, Torkoal is still phenomenal. Like, I love using Torkoal. I love using Weather. So don't get me wrong, Torkoal is still very viable and very much used. But with Ninetales being as a possible option, with it's got really high special defense, really fast, speedy Ninetales. You could almost have that paired up again with almost a Lilligant Ninetales kind of synergy, making sure Lilligant's on the field to sleep powder any opposing Urshifus or threatening water types or ground types even. With Ninetales, with the Drought activation of the Sunlight, it will whittle down any sort of water type moves. So you could safely even have this like paired up with a Chi-Yu in the background, an Amoonguss, or even have like a Heatran that's paired up with it, or any of the photosynthesis, like the Paradox Pokemon like Fluttermanes and so forth. Have those come switching in and take its spot, which is perfect. I just love knowing that there could be a very possible new legal Drought Cyanide setter without having to use Torkoal so much. Or you can even have both, you can swap it out and see how you feel. But those are just some things you could always have like an eject overheat on Ninetales, kind of do the same thing that you had with Torkoal and have again like something swapped out. Some moves that it does have access to that I find is rather more unique than opposed to Torkoal is having Grudge. So essentially that's an old school move in the Sword and Shield. Not sure if we will actually have access to it. They have not yet confirmed the move sets for these Pokemon, so I could be wrong. But basically, Grudge will have access. It's a move that if you were to take any whittling of your stats. It totally like empties out your move pool. So basically your PP is just all zapped out. I'm just gonna double check that. Oh yeah, if the user faints, the user's grudge fully depletes the PB of the opponent's moves that knocked it out. Sorry, so it's not that's a different move. But basically, yeah, grudge. So it's kind of like a destiny bond, but in a sense of it just makes that Pokemon completely pointless. So again, I think that is just such a really nifty kind of tool you can use if you're suspecting to be taken down. And again, after use on a Lilligant in the sun will always guarantee that that will more or less happen, unless you've got priority moves that you gotta be concerned with. Another one, it's got access to foul play. So again, if you're worried about those heavy hitters, you don't have to worry so much because you can hit just as hard and if not even more brutal. And again, Torkoal doesn't have that. So you could run a Ninetales and a Torkoal even on the same team and then have Torkoal run something like the one shell armor or whatnot. Basically the one that allows Torkoal to not take any critical hits. If you're worried about any of the, again, Urshifus that are running wild there with their signature moves that do crits, well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, and then you can still run Eruptions, run any of those. I just highly recommend probably having some sort of way to go first, or a Trick Room Setter if that was the option you want to go with. Another one, Ninetales has Energy Balls, Solar Beams, Dark Pulse, and your typical generic Fire-type moves, digs, confusion rates. Like, I love Ninetales. I could go on forever about that. So moving on to the next one that I'm really excited about too, and to try. We've got Gliscor. So I have recently, in my time of playing Pokemon, have been more and more playing with Gliscor, and I absolutely adore it. I adored the first one, Gligar, and I was a big fan of playing Pokemon Shadow XD Lugia, and that's when I came across this lovely Pokemon and just found how savage and versatile, like, the resistance on this thing. So it's a it's a ground flying type, and it looks like a poison type. I thought it is, and I mean, to be fair, the design of the Pokemon makes it look like it would be a poison type. Now, with the Terra, you could make it a poison type if you really wanted to. However, with the flying, you are now totally immune to ground type moves, and then you're totally immune to electric type moves. Some of the biggest, like, electric is huge. Being a ground type, you're not going to be weak to any sort of electricity moves, and you can probably run like a more of an electric team, safely running Discharge, knowing that that thing isn't going to take any damage. One thing you gotta look out for though is it is ×4 in ice, so I could definitely see Xianpao still being very useful and very viable in some of these the meta form. And so you just gotta look out for those, like Ice Spinners, Ice Shards, Icy Winds even might be pretty damaging, but so forth. It's pretty not bad stats. It's got very high end defense, surprisingly. And then, I mean, it's kind of fast, so it can still like keep up with the meta, I think. That's what I'm excited about. I don't know if this will be ran a lot, but it's one that I'm definitely super excited for. And then it also has things like Mud Bomb to deplete, again, accuracy. Surprisingly, this Pokemon can become very evasive, so I've quite liked that. You can set it up with Swords Dance, Poison Jabs, X-Scissor. On top of that, it also has 3 unique abilities, and I'm not sure if these will all be, again, accessible in this format, but so forth. It does have access to Hyper Cutter, which prevents attacks from being lowered by that Pokemon. So again, Power Swabs and any Intimidates, perfect. Sandveil, it will also have access to increasing its evasion to 1.25 during a sandstorm. So again, this thing can get really difficult to actually hit. And that, yeah, I get pretty stoked about that. And then the other thing it also has access is Poison Heal. So you could do the kind of, essentially the other thing that in the first series here, Breloom was running more so than any other Pokemon here. Yeah, I think Breloom is the only other one that's accessible. Poison Heal, which it heals 1/8 max HP after each turn when it's poisoned in place of damage. So you could have this poisoned, then have like a black sludge, for instance, and then or leftovers, doesn't matter, and just keep having it replenish and keep having it being hard to actually hit, and this thing could be really scary really fast. And it does have access to some priority moves. I don't know what kind of, prior tutor moves or egg moves it might have access to. We'll find out on that. I'm also excited about some of these other ones. Again, Melodic is really good. It was very useful in the Sword and Shield regions. Vikavolt, I've heard a lot about, and I'm kind of excited to try it out. I haven't really used it too much myself, but I'm hoping it, it is what everyone's talking about. It's an electric type bug. Yeah, bug electric. And it's got levitate. So that is huge for an electric type. Fortunately, so you could Terra it into an electric to give it full immunity. However, and then the special attack is insane. It's very slow though, so it's got a base 43 in speed, so it's definitely a Trick Room Pokemon. Like, you have to have Trick Room no matter what, because this thing's gonna be, yeah. And then, yeah, its special attack is insane. It's 145. I'm pretty sure that is 10 base points more than Fluttermane here, so that could be very interesting. And I'm excited to see so many other probably typings come out more on the meta, because I think electrics have not been so much of a thing ran, and I'm excited to see the more options out there, the more possibilities there are, especially when you've got things like Rillaboom that are setting up grassy terrains and protecting electric types or so forth that are very vulnerable to ground type moves. Super excited about that. And then, obviously, like, we know what Snorlax does. Snorlax does Snorlax things, and is super bulky, and he's going to be back, probably setting up belly drums, and so forth. I put Trevenant on there, too, because of the unique, Pokemon move it does have called Forest Curse. Now, I'm not sure if it will actually have that here, but that one essentially just changes the typing of that Pokemon or the target that it chooses into a grass type. So I think that's kind of cool. Again, you might want to pair this up more with like an ice Pokemon, or going in and killing it, or a fire type and having like Chi-Yu just like obliterate anything and be okay. But I also find it very unique to have, because I don't think people think of it too much, and maybe it just takes too much to set up, which is very possible, as opposed to just terroring. But having these moves that change a Pokemon's typing altogether, you can use it to your own advantage and put it on an ally Pokemon that would give it essentially a terastallation. So you could actually save your Terra, but also still save your Pokemon. Like, Chi-Yu would be very vulnerable, for example, to Urshifus and Surging Strikes. If I was able to put a grass typing on that, I'm going to be saving it quite a bit. Also, why I'm stoked about this is I don't know about you guys, but I am not looking forward to, or haven't been, with all these sleeping Pokemon, all these spores that are spammed on Amoonguss. I am excited to eventually see this Amoonguss little mushroom be gone. It's very, don't get me wrong, it's really supportive. It's awesome out there. You can use it on any team, and like it's just been really annoying though to deal with so many spores and sleep powders. And I don't like to really play that way unless, I mean, you have to. If I put a sleep, I usually typically go with like a yawn. I don't know. I feel like it's a little more enjoyable to have my opponent also be playing and also be fighting back, and not just have them sleep and just free hitting them. I think is a little, in my opinion, a little cheap. So I know I probably will have some comments on that, but that's just my opinion. I rather have a full-on game where both of us felt like we played to our best ability and see what happens. So again, I'm really stoked to see a possible specialty move put on this Trevenant that will be accessible in the DLC once it comes out. Having Forest Curse, being able to put typings on my Pokemon to give it actual immunities to something that, you know, suspecting like a water move or so forth, or even Dazzling Gleams or and Drain Punches. Like this is gives you some resistance and so forth. So to carry on with the next latest shenanigans here, guys. So that's kind of like an overall look. The last bit of things with October 1st to 31st will be the new Regional E series, and they have announced that they will be having returning moves coming forth. So that's going to look really scary already with Grassy Glide, Burning Jealousy, and Lash Out. Grassy Glide, let's go over that. Now, Grassy Glide is, I believe, on Rillaboom. Yes. So, it's a 70 base physical move with 100% accuracy. Gliding on the ground, the user attacks the target. This move always goes first on a grassy terrain. So, essentially, you have a new grass-type priority move. Now, will this be OP? I'm not entirely sure it'll be OP. It'll be scary to deal with, for sure. But there are things that, you know, Indeedee and pranksters with psychic terrains do exist. And it's not like a downside to be adding those to your team, because if anything, it will benefit your team. For those that are wanting to keep fast, you know, tailwind setups and then having a psychic terrain. But I do see this being scary and something for people to consider when they see a Rillaboom on a team. So, then the next one is Burning Jealousy. That one looks kind of scary. Burning Jealousy is a special move. And let's see. So, it's a specialty move with 100% accuracy. It's 70 attack, but the user attacks with the energy from Jealousy. This leaves all opposing Pokemon that have had their stats boosted during the turn with a burn. So, that's very interesting. So, for any of those that are trying to set up, for instance, Annihilates, Iron Hands, Ursalunas with Swords Dance. I mean, actually, that Ursaluna would actually love that. So you could probably pair this up with who has access to this is like it looks like Torkoal does, Alolan Persians, Ninetales again, Flareon, Heatran, Zoroark, Mimikyu. So, even Grimmsnarl has access to this move, possibly. These are just some that in the previous games I'm looking at had access to this move. Will be, in fact, very useful for those Ursalunas that are out there that want to be burned. a little faster, and then that way they don't have to keep using or keep having like a flame orb on them. They could put like something else that's of use, like a leftovers to try and keep it alive more, or like a twist scarf. Ursaluna might be scary too. But anyways, so there is that. Next one is Lash Out. So this is a dark Terra move, or not a Terra, sorry, a dark move. I think this is the one I mistaken as prior. So it's a 75 physical move that has 100% accuracy, and the user slashes out to vent its frustrations towards the target. If its stats were lowered during the turn, the power of this move is doubled. So, for any of those that are trying to spam superpower with, you know, those Pokemon that have, like, reverse, instead of decreasing the increase, that's possible. Any Defiance actually would be really cool. Any Defiant, you just are now going to be taking double because it has to go down first to then go up, so it would be activated. And the base power of this does turn into a 150 dark type move. So I personally love dark types. They are my favorite typing. Umbreon's my favorite. Just putting it out there. So this, again, would be really cool to see. And it looks like a Lowland Persian might have access to this. And a few other ones. Let's see. Lash Out has, yeah, you've got a Lowland Meowth, Gyarados, Umbreon, Sneasler, T-Tar, Sableye, Spiritomb, Toxicroak. Oh, that would be awesome on a Toxicroak. What else? Yeah, Bisharp. Not sure if it'll be on King Gambit, but honestly, that would be kind of cool. King Gambit. Anyways, so there's that. So those are just examples of some of the new moves that they will be returning that have been banned from this point on, and it will be reintroduced for October 1st. So stay tuned on that. Also, there has been, I won't put too many spoilers here on my video here, but Ogerpon leak of 3 other forms. So basically, there has been a lot of rumors just recently that I guess when they've been trying to put little snippets of new information about the DLCs, that they may have actually leaked something they didn't want people to see, and that was the Ursaluna Blood Moon variant, and as well as they had exposed that Ogerpon has 3 additional forms. So they look adorable too. Again, I'll let you look at that online. They have like 3 different masks, it looked like. So it's got like this leaf mask and like a little teardrop, and they have like different emotions on the mask. So again, I think that really does foreshadow a lot of what the storyline they have in mind with the 2 siblings for the Kitakami, or am I saying that right? Kitakami Highland Adventure. So, because what is in that foreshadowing video, or that little snippet of the picture, you have Kieran kind of like looking down, and he looks like he's upset, and based off the rumors, it sounds like this legendary kind of thrives off of Pokemon, like people's emotions. So, not sure where they're entirely going with that, but it looks like it maybe might take a terraform of that, and that looks like a different typing, so based off of the emotion. I don't know, that's kind of like my take on this. Let me know maybe what you think, what that has, like what your ideas are in the comments there. And then with that being said, they have new mini games and new uniforms coming out, so we don't have to deal with this really boring 4 outfits of the seasons anymore. There will be a few new ones. I'm not sure how many, but I personally loved the customization that you had options to in Sword and Shield, and even in the Arceus, and so I'm glad that they're going to try and bring a little bit of that back, so I'm excited for that. And then as well as they have like little photography tasks with some of the new characters. a mini games for mochis, and the fact, like, so you get like these little targets and you have to use your legendary Pokemon for, and it's kind of cute. I can't wait to try these out and to have the mochis. Some of the benefits that it specifies on their site is that they will in fact have the option to restart or refresh a Pokemon's EV built stats entirely, some of them. So that is going to be super useful. If you want to like restart a Pokemon, there's nothing more annoying than having to go out and like fight a wild Pokemon to, you know, decrease his stat and then have enough EV candies to replace that, or to just invest in a lot of the berries that you can find in the wild and do the same. If there is just like some specific candies that just, let's just take a new, refresh. I myself will find that very useful, especially when I've like accidentally put in or invested in the wrong stats, and then I'm kind of stuck with it. So that is that. And then the final little snippet here before I wrap up this video is, I don't want to mention too much about it, but yes, they have already revealed some of snippets for the Indigo disc, and a little bit about it being the fact that you have, they haven't quite made it confirmed yet if it's going to be in Teal Mask or Indigo disc. I presume it will be in the disc, just because based off some of the video. Again, I will leave like a link to that. Raging Bolt and Iron Crown. Will it be in Teal or Indigo? I'm thinking it will be in Indigo. I don't think they want to veer their focus too much off the storyline in Teal Mask, and it'll be more so in Indigo, so to speak. And I feel like it would fit more in that. But let me know what you think. I'm not too sure. I could be totally off. And they look so cool. Raging Bolt will have a new move that is essentially a new like quick attack in electric form. As well as it's like a previous Raikou. Who doesn't like Raikou? Iron Crowns will be the Paradox Pokemon for future Paradox, so like the Iron Hands and so forth. And that also looks like it's going to be a Steel type. Looks like a very cool like mechanoid deer. And it will have access to its own signature move that will allow it to basically like a dual wing, but in a Steel type form. So any of those fairy types, any of those Flutter mains, they're gonna be having problems there. But yeah, what else? And then I know the last thing here with the Archaludon, that I accidentally put this in the slide. Maybe I put it in there for a reason, because I want to talk about that one. I think it looks really cool. From the Duraludon, to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of. It just looks like this giant skyscraper, and they're like, let's call it a dragon. I never really liked it. And I thought it was kind of like poorly done. But again, don't take it too hard, because that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, there. This Archaludon looks fantastic. I love it. I will put a link to that as well, or whatnot, to the whole Pokemon thing. But so basically, it's an evolution that they have introduced for Indigo disc for that Pokemon, and it will have a signature move of Electro Shot. I don't know if it's a signature, but it'll have Electro Shot. And essentially, it's like a solar beam, but in the rain. So, who doesn't like that? Having that access to something so powerful, and you can keep spamming it. And it's the same, but it's the same like Gigaton Hammer. So you get to use it immediately, and then there's like a rest period. But with this, it's the other way around. You can use it immediately, but as long as it's in the rain, you can keep using it. So that's going to be such a powerful electric move. Again, I'm super stoked to see more electric types being in the meta, possibly. It's going to be still a Steel Dragon typing with a two abilities, either Sturdy or Stamina. And I personally love Stamina just because of Mudsteel has been done me well in the past and won me lots of games before. Sturdy wouldn't be half bad too, but I think Stamina, just with so many like physical threats, they haven't released the stats on these yet, so we'll see what that looks like. Fingers crossed, it's still pretty bulky, and what the stats are going to look like. So that is super exciting. All I have to say for now, I'll probably make another video for the Indigo disc once that comes out in the winter time there, more or less. But I hope you guys enjoyed. That's basically the gist of it all. Let me know, what are you excited for? I overall am excited about the new return of some many Pokemon and to see how they play in the meta online for VGC, as well as just enjoying some of the mini games and so forth that the new GSC will have to offer. But yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you in the near future. This is coming out just around the corner, so get ready. Make sure you get that pre-order and have your Switch nice and, ready to download this. Alright, have a great day, guys, and peace!